Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Hi, Rasham. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Is Al on?
He is. He's still muted.
Okay. I'm sure so many agents have so many questions. So I'm very happy that we have Marc on today.
Yeah. Before we get started, guys, please don't interrupt. And I would appreciate it if you, instead of typing questions in chat, because they become a little bit difficult to keep track of, if you guys could just raise your hands and wait your turn. I promise I'll do my best to acknowledge everybody.
And Alyse, is this recorded?
It is recorded, and we'll be posting on YouTube later today.
Thank you, Alyse.
Alyse, I can't get my video to work. How can I raise it?
So in the bottom of your Zoom screen, are you on your phone or your computer?
I'm on my computer and the video wasn't working, so I tried to disable the app and delete it and then re-download it. And when I tried to re-download it, it won't let me do so.
So down on the bottom of your screen, does it give you the ability in Zoom on the bar? It should give you the option to raise your hand.
And if you could just put it in the chat.
Oh, here it is. Okay, and I see it. I see the raise hand. Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
All right, cool. It's 3 o'clock, or 5 o'clock actually, a different time today. Let's get started. Do we have somebody, a mortgage partner on today or no?
I don't believe so. No, I don't believe so.
All right. Is Marc on?
Yes, he is.
All right.
Marc is here. Hello.
Hey, Marc, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you for agreeing to come on today and answer our questions. We really appreciate it. This has been a confusing topic for our agents. We're trying to help them out the best they can. I don't know if maybe you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then just however you think the best way to proceed. If you just want us to open up for questions right away, or if you talk about, how it works in general, whatever you think is best. Since you're the expert.
Sure, Al. I'd be happy to do that. So I've been involved in the employment law world for the last 25 years. Started in 1995 right out of law school, and it's been kind of my world since. I've been dealing with various issues that have arisen both in New York and New Jersey throughout my entire career. Most of them have been involved with employer and employee relations. So think of the world of discrimination, harassment, restrictive covenants, things of that nature that pop up between employer and employee. Of course, during that walk of 25 years, I've come across some matters involving unemployment, which I understand many of on the call today are interested in speaking further about. Happy to answer any questions that I can. And obviously, we're in a different and new era right now in the COVID world. So again, anything that pops up is all brand new to you, brand new to me as well. None of this was going on up until just a couple months ago. But I've been on the front lines of trying to educate my clients and keep everybody abreast in terms of what's going on. I've been through various interviews. I recently I was interviewed by someone on the call today, Kelly Weber. Great interview last week regarding employer and employee relation issues that have arisen during the COVID-19 era. But I'm here today to speak about those issues as well as any sort of COVID-19 issues, any issues with respect to misclassification of some of your employees to the extent that you have them, and how I could best help with respect to any of these issues that might arise.
All right. Well, that sounds exactly what we're looking for. So are there any broad strokes that you want to explain, or should we just open it up and have agents just start asking you questions, whatever you think is best?
Yeah, sure. I mean, why don't we start with some questions, and I'll try to expand it into, go a little beyond the answer to see if I could try to provide some information to yourself and to your agents.
All right, great.
So Kristen has a question, if you want to go ahead.
Awesome. Marc, first, thank you so much for doing this. It's been driving me crazy. So we were lucky enough, we actually finally got the notification that we were able to certify that we are actually getting money. But the minimum in New Jersey is $231. And from what I understand on the website, that's given if you don't meet the minimum requirements for unemployment in terms of earnings. But in our case, we should be getting more than that according to our accountant. is there a way to appeal the money that we're receiving without stopping our benefits? Because the worst thing would be for us to not have anything coming in. So
Right. So is this through regular unemployment or the pandemic unemployment benefits?
it is through pandemic. It's through the pandemic unemployment. We initially certified just through the regular unemployment, and then we were told, you know, we were denied. We kept getting that zero amount, and then literally on Saturday we got an email saying that we were that we could start certifying that day, and that we were eligible, and that we would also get the $600 a week as a self-employed person. Thank God. So. But when I certified for my husband, it's showing the $231 as the amount every week, as opposed to what it should be, which is somewhere around 5 something, according to their calculator.
Right. So focusing a little bit on your question as well as trying to expand the answer a bit. So as you know, right, under the pandemic unemployment benefits that are available, it's up to $600 a week. And in terms of taking that aspect and coupling that with the appealing a decision itself by unemployment, it's not going to necessarily stop benefits you're receiving. And if you have a line of communication with the office via email or otherwise, I mean, that is the best way to communicate. It's really, it's a multi individual approach, right? You said you have an accountant at work helping you on this. Some folks are also working with their bankers with respect to, you know, the PPP and other programs of that nature. So it's really trying to work with all your professionals. But the hardest part, as you I'm sure have experienced, as I'm sure many on this call have experienced, is communicating directly with the unemployment. They are, as I'm sure you're familiar, very, very overwhelmed, right? This was unanticipated by them as well as everybody. I mean, imagine trying to do 150 closings in one day, okay? That's what they're experiencing on the unemployment side. And it's not like you could push off 75 of them to tomorrow, because tomorrow there's another 225 waiting. So this is really what they're dealing with. And again, I'm not here to defend them at all, but from what I understand, that's kind of the crux of what is going on in their world. So what I understand, and this is somewhat silver lining news and positive news as well, is as long as you have your claim in and as long as you have the necessary documents and you have a claim number, what have you, even if you're not yet receiving those benefits, when unemployment finally gets to your ticket, you will then be receiving, those benefits backdated to when you first applied. So, and that's a big issue, right? A lot of people are concerned, well, I have bills to pay and everything else, and I can't survive as I am. I fully am sympathetic to that, empathetic to that. I wish I could personally help, but it's the unemployment office that is the savior here. And it's really just a matter of them ultimately getting to the claim. And when they finally process it and do what they need to do, they will, again, generally speaking, provide the benefits backdated to when the application first came through. In terms of your direct question, again, I'm trying to give it a much more expansive answer. If your account has provided the fact that you are open more than what your employment office has provided, you know, try to go through your ticket. And again, if your claim is now backdated for whatever the issues are, when they ultimately get to it, if the numbers were wrong on their end, they'll fix it and they'll process it from the date that you brought it to their attention.
Okay, sorry, you keep going in and out on my computer. So at this point, I don't need to do anything. At some point, they'll look at our 2019 tax returns and correct their mistake. So we should get the correct amount.
Well, they're not going to know it's a mistake until they're alerted to it.
Okay.
So I would certainly try to alert them. If there's an appeals time period provided on any sort of notice, utilize that time. Make sure you stay in communication with the unemployment office. That's the best advice I have.
So I should just file an appeal and say we got the claim processed, but the amount is incorrect. I wasn't sure if that would just, you know, because we were told that we were able to claim and we were given some money, but we're not given the correct amount.
Right. Most likely going through the appeals process will help try to move the matter forward.
Okay.
Experience.
All right, I'll try that. Thank you so much, Marc. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The next person's hand was Ish.
Hey, Marc, how you doing? Thanks for your help. So my question was, I did the initial filing for the New Jersey unemployment. I then received an email, an adjudication email. And it was filed successfully, and they came back with a case number, and it told me I had one or more unresolved issues on my claim. And they were giving me a fact-finding questionnaire. When I went to submit it or click on it, it sent me, and it said most recent employment was where it was having an issue. Some of the questions it was asking me, though, I couldn't really answer. So for instance, it was asking first day worked with most recent employer, last day physically there. But my questions were, it had a rate of pay and then type of pay, where the options were hourly, weekly, or annual. And then it also asked what were regular days, hours that, so I was having a problem with the rate of pay and the type of pay. How do I answer those?
Okay, so tell me a little bit about yourself. Are you, I'm assuming independent?
Yes.
Okay, and how has, I don't like to ask personal questions to a full group, so just kind of give me generically, how has your pay been impacted, so that way I can try to maybe better understand the issues that you're having?
Okay, yeah, I became an agent in November of 2018, so there were no commissions in 2018. 2019, I only had about $1,100 in income, but for the first 3 months of this year, 2020, I had closings that were in the range of total commission of around $19,000 for the first 3 months of this year, 2020. But I also had, as an independent contractor, as a personal trainer, so I had income from that as well.
Okay, and have both those jobs been impacted by what's going on now, COVID?
Right, absolutely.
Right, so this was one of the issues that I had recently come across. And in this situation, obviously you're being impacted. So go with the income that would generate for you the most benefits, wherever that might be. Now, are both of these in New Jersey, or is any?
Both in New Jersey.
Okay, so go with whichever income would provide you the most benefit. And again, the unemployment could give you those calculations. As far as any sort of rate of pay or figuring that out, it's a little difficult, right, for the independent as opposed to an employee who receives a regular paycheck. So in a situation like that, you almost need to break down your income. And it's a little more challenging because, like you said, you had limited income in 2019 from what you're experiencing. But in 2020, it's become a little more steady. So for you to break that down in terms of your hours and pay, really it's just a calculation of saying, hey, if I were to earn this much money or estimated to earn this much money throughout the year, and then break that down by month and then by week, and really you just break it down pretty much to the hour of what your real self-employed hourly rate is, as confusing as that is, but that's kind of the reality of it. Then you can try to utilize that in some sort of formula with the unemployment office.
So I can extrapolate what my earnings for 2020 for the year and then use that?
You could use that. Now, the only other thing I'm going to throw in there is the unemployment office, if you're still earning money from some of these closings or things of that nature, unemployment is going to be a little more sensitive to that, to not want to compensate someone, and I'm not saying you, I'm just talking again, right, very generally, that is earning money. It's more where, let's say in June, when you're doing business now to try to generate let's say you're doing business right now in May to generate income, but that income is not going to come until July or August when these closings take place. Now is the time for the benefits for you to seek those benefits. If you're earning income now based upon what you did back in January or February, and now those closings are coming to fruition, virtually or otherwise, unemployment again is going to be a little more hesitant to pay. I'm not saying you, I'm saying just in general, to pay those funds.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. Alyse, are you on? Are you still waiting to get in?
I am. Sorry, I'll let them in.
Let me just finish the thought. The bottom line from the unemployment office is just apply. Don't take anything anybody says that I'm not sure if you're going to be able to apply. It can't hurt to apply. And in fact, the way the employment office works right now is they're only offering the pandemic unemployment benefits to those who apply for regular unemployment and are denied. So, and I mean, it's complicated, it's confusing. That's the way they're operating. From their perspective, we're going to give you the pandemic unemployment insurance, speaking with the independent contractors here, because you're not able to get regular unemployment because you're not part of the quote unquote fund. But they still want you to go through the process, be denied, and then go through the application process. That's their rationale. I don't make up the rules, they do. And, but that's the process. So really, again, for anybody on this call, if you feel you're entitled to benefits, no matter what anybody's telling you, just apply. Can't hurt.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, one last thing. Should I combine the two incomes?
So I would say utilize the income that provides you the most benefit. So the job, right, that provides you the most benefit, unemployment office should be able to work that calculation out. I'm not sure what those calculations are. Perhaps on their website, you should be able to figure out from which income you would receive the most benefit. The unemployment follows the job, or really the person, not necessarily the position that you held.
Thank you.
Hope that was helpful.
The next question is from Seth.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Good, Seth. Nice to meet you.
Good. Question for you. Actually, going back to the fact that you said that that unemployment people are backlogged and they've got a lot of things going on there. I tried applying through the website for 3 weeks, and then I made the call to apply through there, and I got through there. When I got through half the stage, they were going to transfer me to a representative, and I got cut off. They said to call the next day. So I called the next day and kept calling, but nothing's happened. So now about 2 weeks ago, I got something that said status pending, but that's been for like 2 weeks now. My question is, do you think that somebody will call eventually? Or is it something that I should be doing to kind of forward that process a little bit?
So if I was speaking on behalf of the unemployment office, which I certainly
No, I don't want you to.
Right. I was going to say, the fact that you have status pending is already a double or a triple in terms of home base.
All right.
Because I'm sure there are people on this call that have not even gotten there because you just can't get through. Right. It's not like they're telling everybody, here's our email address. Everybody will tell you us, and by the end of the day, we'll give you a claim number. We wish it was that easy, and unfortunately, status pending is a great lead in. So meaning down the road, if and when, not even if, when they ultimately are able to communicate with you and start the process of the application or whatever else that they are doing, or further process it, should I say, it would, again, from what I understand, go back to when you originally applied, and having that pending email is almost like your evidentiary proof that your call now, let's say in a week from now, when you finally do get somebody on the phone, is not your initial call. You already have something going, and I mean, I'm assuming it goes by your social security number. So whatever it's going to be in a week from now, that they said, to which they replied status pending. So really is not much more to do, but I mean, if I was in that position, I mean, I would be calling them every 5 minutes of every single day to say, hey, what's going on here? And hopefully you will be able to communicate with them at some point and then be able to utilize the status pending status as your proof of something positive to get you the back benefits from when you originally applied.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Sure, my pleasure.
I wonder if I can get on.
Oh, wait, excuse, Alyse is trying to go in order for people.
Okay.
So I see you, and I will unmute you as soon as it's your turn. Okay, next we had, I believe Cynthia was next in line.
How do they determine how much you're getting, the unemployment? Because I did apply on March 29th, and I got I do have some money coming into 231, but I had to take a temporary job, and it says now I'm working full time, which I'm not, and they won't let me certify.
Right. So what you're trying to seek here is what's called partial unemployment benefits. Right? If you're
Right.
working, if you have some income coming in, which is a good thing, unemployment officers looking at you as being employed, you are now on their radar screen as somebody who, if they're saying you're fully employed, clearly that's a mistake. You need
Yes.
you need to be able to demonstrate to them that whatever you're receiving temporarily in terms of your new position is subpar to what you were receiving beforehand, before all this craziness hit.
Yeah, but they're saying I'm working full time, which I'm
Right.
not.
Right,
So-
and that's the point. And so, yeah, so in that case, whether it's an appeals process, whether it's just a process through which you would speak with the investigator or whoever you can get on the horn over there.
Well, I'm trying to call. I can never call them.
Right.
I've tried hours every day. I can't get in touch with anybody. Do you have any suggestions?
I mean, you're experiencing the same things that Seth is experiencing, as I'm sure others. I wish I had a path, some sort of conduit from folks on this call into the unemployment office. I mean, I don't. I mean, they are again, one entity, a very overwhelmed one, as you can imagine, trying to process Seth's application, your application, as long as, in addition to everybody else's. But again, having at least some sort of dialogue with them, which you already seem to be having.
Yeah.
Telling you have one thing, which you're saying you do not. At least again, you have a dialogue going. Something's happening. So if and when that issue gets resolved, they realize the mistake that was made and that it should be partial unemployment as opposed to no unemployment. At that point, the expectation would be that they would backdate the partial unemployment benefits to the time that you first applied for them.
Oh, okay. Well, does that include the $600 weekly are we supposed to be getting as well?
Right. Well, so the unemployment you're claiming, are you independent or are you an employee?
Independent.
Okay. So as an independent, again, you have to first go through unemployment, get denied, then go through the
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Right. Now that you're in the pandemic world, so that would be like you mentioned, the amount plus the 600. So yes, assuming that you can get through their layers of whatever those might be, you should be able to get the partial unemployment benefits in addition to the up to the $600 benefit.
Okay, but I can't even certify every week. I don't know why. And I try to get on the phone. Do you suggest I just talk to somebody on the phone? Or,
if you can get somebody on the phone, that's great.
yeah.
Okay. That's the battle right there. But
okay.
Yeah, hopefully that'll work out for you. Good luck.
Thank you, Mark.
Sure, my pleasure.
Okay.
Okay, so next in line, we had Renee Daniels. Renee, you there?
Hi, yep, I'm here. So I have more.
I think Mark asked if possible for you to please have video on for legal
Okay,
reasons.
and I don't have a question, so I actually just have information. So
Okay.
do you want me to put my video on?
Sure.
Okay, I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? Click on myself and start
you on
video.
your phone?
Okay, I'm on my phone. Yeah, wait a second. It's not letting me start video. Access to your camera.
You know, I mean, it's not the end of the world if you're not on video. We'll go to the next person while you figure that out. If you can't figure it
Okay,
out.
well,
then we'll
again, I don't really have a question, but I had information for the people who spoke because I'm receiving unemployment. So I thought it would be helpful if you'd like me to provide you with it.
Great.
Can I do that without my camera since my
Sure.
phone won't let me?
Sure.
So I applied for unemployment immediately, as did my daughter and someone else I know. So we went through the process where Seth is now, he's pending. That took about 3 weeks. We received an email that said that we weren't eligible for regular unemployment, but we'd get pandemic unemployment. Then that finally came through. Today, I was able to certify for all the way back to, week 1, which was 6 weeks ago. My daughter already received her unemployment this week because she certified before I did. And as far as the amounts of unemployment, I believe that because we are self-employed, that calculation for what you are eligible based on your income is not applicable. They're giving $231 to everyone across the board, plus the $600 pandemic, because I've spoken to 3 people and we all have wide-ranging incomes. My income is almost 5 times more than someone else's, and we got the same amount. The other person was half of mine, same amount. So I don't think they're using the standard unemployment calculation. I believe they're giving everyone that basic 231, which is the lowest amount, and then giving us the $600 pandemic. So as far as the 231, when you go in and certify, and this is for Cynthia, you have to, every week they change the times for certification based on your social security number. So you have to go in every Friday, and it'll have it for Monday. It'll tell you what the certification times are starting on Monday. And then if you miss, you can do Saturday or Sunday, but you look at what your social security number is and you get a half-hour window. So my advice to you, because it took me 2 times to do it, the first day I couldn't get in. The second day, my window was 9 to, as a matter of fact, it was this morning, it was 9 to 9:30. I was on my computer and I had everything set up. And as soon as 9 o'clock came, I pressed enter with my information. I got in, I certified the first week. And you have to go in separate times. So you go in, you certify, then you start over again. You certify again for the next week. You certify again for the next week until you certify for every week that you're eligible for, up to the current date. So that's everything that I found out, and I wanted to share it with everyone because it took us a lot of trial and error to kind of get to where we are now. But we are getting, as I said, my daughter already got her first check directly deposited because that's how she signed up. But the $600 pandemic we haven't gotten yet, and they said we won't get that until, I believe, May 19th. Based on when you certify, it comes a couple weeks later. So I don't know if that's helpful, if anyone else has any other questions that I've experienced.
I think, Mark, if you need somebody to help you in your office, you have a new assistant there with Renee.
So let me just follow that up real quickly. Renee, thank you. That was really valuable information.
You're welcome.
What's key about that is that you saw how Renee, right, effort after effort trying to get through, but ultimately, and Renee, correct me if I'm wrong here, but ultimately when the process started, that they did backdate your benefits to when you first applied. Is that correct?
That is correct. So I applied as soon as the office closed and we were told that we could apply for unemployment. I applied. And again, it took.
When is that date?
That was, I think it was back March 29th was the first week.
Right. So it's all about the E for effort here with respect to unemployment.
But I couldn't certify until today, but it allows you to go in and certify. It's when you go in the first time to certify, when you first get in, which is what happened to me today, it brings you to the first week that you're eligible for. So you go through the whole process of certifying. You have to answer the questions. You put your social security number in. You have had to create a PIN number. You have to put the PIN in, and then you certify. And then it looks like you're finished. But that's only 1 week. So then you go back in again and say, I want to certify for benefits. It brings you to the next week. And you do that until you're up to current day. And then they give you your money a week later. It only takes a week for them to send you your money after you've certified.
Thank you so much, Renee.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, next we had Susan, but that's not Susan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
iPad. It's Dennis.
Dennis.
Yeah. Hi, guys. I did everything. I got all the documentation. They have my bank account. They have everything. I have everything from, I went on a computer and did what I had to do. I have not received a penny of anything. No pandemic, no unemployment, nothing. And I would do I have to keep recertifying if I haven't gotten any money, or do I recertify once I start getting money?
So Dennis, when I first got on this call, you were one of the first ones that was on the screen with me, and I know you said that you were looking forward to communicating with me, and I thank you I'm glad you finally were able to get a question in. So let me just try to answer this the best extent I could. Once you get rolling with unemployment, it sounds like, again, from Renee's experience, and I'm sure others as well, once you're in, right? Once you have the certification process going, it's not a complicated process thereafter in terms of every week, recertifying or whatever you need to do to be able to demonstrate the fact that you have entitlement to certain funds based upon all the criteria that they're using. But it's getting to that point that it seems to be the most challenging for you, because like you said, you've not yet received anything. And whether it be Seth or anyone else that might be on this call, it's a numbers game. I mean, it sounds like you've done everything you can, humanly possible, to start receiving the benefits. And at this point, I mean, you need to really just wait for unemployment to just finally get to where they need to be with respect to
that's what
the claim.
that's what I read this afternoon. There was an article on the internet. They said, 180 million people got paid, and the rest of it's going to come towards the end of this month or in the beginning of June. All the rest of the people will get paid. Whether or not that's the case, they'll probably run out of money. But that's beside the point. Let me just ask you one other question.
Sure.
It just so happens that I was lucky enough. I made a deal yesterday, a major sale of $1.7 million, and the closing is going to be June 15th. It's an all-cash deal. So closing is in 30 days or whatever. Today's the 12th, so 33 days. When I get that check on the 16th or the 17th or whatever, do I have to tell them that I got a certain amount of money? Do I have to tell them the amount I got? Or do I just tell them that I was working and I got paid? As an independent contractor, I haven't done anything since I got certified on March 22nd. And I still haven't gotten anything. That's 2 months already. All of March to April to May. So what do I do when June comes around and I get a nice check?
Great question. So generally speaking, unemployment works week to week. So there are weeks that you have received nothing, and then all of a sudden there's a week it's a superstar of a week, which is great. Congratulations on that, by the way. So obviously, with respect to that week, maybe that's not the week to claim the unemployment benefits, but the other weeks that you are not receiving any sort of benefit, again, claim. All that could happen is unemployment could say you received too much money during one certain transaction. We're not going to give you benefits. I mean, I don't think they'll take that position, but they could. But if nothing else, just claim. And I mean, I know you already have. Your claims are backdated now, close to weeks already. But whatever it is, I mean, that's what you need to do. And obviously for that period of time, up until that June moment, you should be able to receive all those benefits to which you're entitled.
That's what happened to me, but it said I went back to work full time.
Because of the amount of income that was received in that one transaction? Cynthia?
Do with that situation. Are you still able to certify after that if you put that in?
I mean, again, you certify. Let unemployment be the bad guy here. Let them be the ones that say,
okay,
you received too much money in this one transaction or whatever it is that you did. So as a result, we're not going to give you any sort of benefits for the next 3 weeks because of the amount that you received.
Yeah. Okay.
Let them be the ones that tell you, no, we're not going to pay. But until that happens, apply. I mean, these are, I mean, you're all, or most of you are independent contractors. You're entitled to certain benefits based upon the new programs, and you should be able to obtain whatever benefits you can. And I hope that you are able
Just
to.
to keep on trying, that's all.
Keep on trying.
Yeah.
So,
Right, let's
one
try
other
to,
thing,
Yeah,
and then
guys,
there are a
I
lot
don't
of people
wanna-
that
I
have
don't wanna
questions.
jump
Let's not jump in. If you've already had your question answered, let's go on to the next people.
Yeah,
I
we
know
have
you're not
about
done.
9 people still waiting.
okay,
Next in line was
But
Rebecca.
Susan's husband, I'm sorry, what's your name? I don't know if you were finished. I was talking more to Cynthia, but- Dennis,
It's Dennis, right?
were you done?
I just didn't understand what he said. If I get a check, I'm just taking a date, June 15th. And the week before I had unemployment, and hopefully I'd get a check. But that week of the 15th, I can't say that I haven't gotten any, any
Right.
payment. So do I just skip that week and go to the next week? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so I just skip the 15th and go to the 22nd, say.
That's what I would do.
Okay, that's good advice. Now,
All
all I
right.
got to do is get the first payment. That would be terrific.
That would be terrific, Dennis.
Right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you coming in today. You
My
really
pleasure.
helped.
Thank you.
Next, we have
Next.
Rebecca Knight.
Hi, am I unmuted? Oh, yeah, good. I found this very interesting, listening both to you, Marc, thank you, and also what Renee said was fascinating. I actually got a commission on March 17th, but that was before New Jersey shut down. I believe the governor shut us down around about the 22nd. So then I thought to myself, oh, I'm not going to earn any money for the foreseeable future. So I applied immediately. Maybe I didn't do it as quickly as Renee did, but I did apply fairly quickly, and I got a claim number. Actually, it said it says here I applied April the 5th. So it was perhaps about a week or so after the governor shut us down, and then I got this mailing on the 14th of April. I had already been told that I had been denied regular unemployment. I got the 0, and then I had to apply for the PUA. But then I got very confused, and I wasn't quite sure whether my commission would have affected that. But you've just told me they work from week to week, so that was history probably. I didn't get anything in April. But then I did get a commission at the beginning of May. So it seems to what you're saying, but correct me if I'm wrong, that I should go and certify for those weeks that I did not earn any money in April. Is that what you're saying?
So similar to my response to Dennis, the answer is yes. It can't hurt to apply, right? Let the unemployment office be the one that tells you, we're not going to give you benefits. You received too much money during your March transaction. But short of them telling you that, I mean, just try to get the benefits, because you're talking about now April and May where you received no income. So
I did receive a small rental commission at the beginning of May,
okay,
but nothing for the 4 weeks in April.
right. So for the period of time during which you received no income is the period of time which I would suggest that you apply for the unemployment benefits, or should we say the pandemic unemployment benefits, because you're not entitled to the unemployment benefits due to.
Right. I was a little hesitant about doing that because I felt it didn't seem right. But then I've sat in on some meetings and I'm hearing some people saying, no names mentioned, but I have heard people saying, oh, we've started getting a check, or we started getting this or the other. And I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe those are people that have not earned any commission this year. Maybe, and if that's the case, I feel for them. But because with independent contractors, some people are earning money and some people are earning absolutely nothing at all. But it seems like the government's not really distinguishing between that very much. I'm totally confused about how they can pay independent contractors when income can be, like in Dennis's case, he's going to get a huge commission, and for weeks we go with no money, and then another week we get really, sometimes you can get all your annual income in 1 month sometimes.
So Rebecca, you said you were confused, and for good reason. I mean, it's very confusing. Understand, up until 2 months ago, there was no such thing as independent contractors receiving unemployment benefits. It didn't exist. So since let's say mid-March, somewhere in that range, that equation has obviously now changed. This is brand new to the government as well. There's a lot going on here. It's so new to all of you. It's new to the government, and it's a matter of just all trying to just figure out the program together collectively and try to have then the money go from the government, which is where the money's located, into all of your bank accounts where the money should be. And process. And some of you have received benefits already. Some of you are still waiting. I know Dennis is still waiting, but hopefully when the smoke clears, hopefully, which will be sooner rather than later, you'll all receive the benefits to which you're entitled. And then thereafter, hopefully sooner rather than later, you could all get back to work and do what you do best.
Because I was concerned from a moral point of view that I perhaps shouldn't claim if I'd gotten that check in March, but then it appears that, so I could go back and claim for the weeks that I haven't certified, because I did not certify because I felt I wasn't entitled to it. But from listening to Renee, I can go back and certify for those weeks that in April when I didn't earn any money.
You can go back, whatever you decide to do morally, ethically, or in any other way. I mean, that's your call. They're going to ask you about your morals or your ethics or anything else.
Right.
To look at an application, they're going to make a decision. If you decide,
Right. Well, they've given me a number and a claim date and what have you. So I'll just...
I mean, you're a number. I mean, you know, respectfully to them right now, you're a number. They've given you a number, and hopefully that's going to turn into benefits to the extent you wish to apply for them and obtain them.
Right, and then as long as I answer their questions, it's up to them if they decide whether they're going to give me anything or not.
It's up to them to provide it. It's up to you to make the application. If you feel, you know what, I'd rather go to other people, then don't apply. I mean, that's your call.
Okay, thank you so much.
Sure.
Thank you. Next was Patty Davis.
Hi, thank you so much for taking the call and doing this. Okay, so I applied and it still says 0 benefits. And then I got this email saying I did not, my claim was rejected or something. And then I got this form, a claimant form for more information. Have you seen that?
Well, if they're sending you a claimant form for more information, are they asking you specific information, or is it just, I mean,
Yeah.
what like, what is it they're seeking?
They all kinds of, like what the first caller said about the hours when I worked and my income and everything. And then it said for my 1099, did I get a 1099 from a client? Which was very confusing. Would Keller Williams be my 1099? That's where I get my 1099 from. That's my client.
Al, you want to take that? Or
Say that again.
I think it involved, what is Keller Williams going to do from a 1099 perspective?
No. So the form asks for your 1099 as you go through the claimant form that they sent me for more information. And it was from Education, and the claimant form is asking for my 1099. And did I get a 1099 from a client? Which,
I mean, I don't know specifically if you are being paid directly by clients. I mean, for real estate business, it shouldn't be, you know, if you have some other
No,
business,
not.
but so if they're asking for your 1099 from Keller Williams, you can supply it.
yeah, but it's saying, would Keller Williams be my client? Because that's the only 1099 I get. That's what they're asking for.
No,
It's a claim
we're not your
form.
client, no.
It's a really very confusing form. It's asking the hours you worked, my most recent employment, and last day I worked. But we're still trying to work.
Patty, is this on the
Are you filing as an independent contractor, or is that an employee form?
Right.
I don't.
Yeah, I was about to ask that similar question now. Is this for the initial unemployment, or is this the pandemic unemployment?
It doesn't say. It just says, you know.
This sounds more like it might be the initial unemployment application, and the expectation is that application is then going to be denied by the unemployment office, and then the dialogue for the pandemic unemployment benefits will then commence. That's kind of what I'm getting from hearing a little bit of the background that you described.
Yeah, see, our records indicate one or more unresolved issues on your unemployment claim, which must be addressed before any benefits can be paid to you. Your response to this fact-finding questionnaire constitute your full statement to claim to the examiner. So that
That sounds like an unemployment application. And it sounds like, and again, from what we're hearing, it doesn't matter what you're going to put on there. If you're a true independent contractor, that application is going to be denied. And then you'll then get a secondary application with respect to the pandemic unemployment benefits. And hopefully the questions on there will be more focused on you as an independent contractor, not as a W-2 employee.
Okay, so for the 1099, I will say, have you received a 1099 from a client? I'll just say no.
I mean, if you haven't, you haven't, but it sounds like you have not.
Have not, but I.
Right.
That's confusing.
And it sounds like it wouldn't be Keller Williams, so.
Okay, all right.
The answer would probably be no in that
Give it a
situation.
shot. This is
I can tell you that when we put down Keller Williams, when we put my husband as a real estate agent with Keller Williams parent company, and that's what we put down for the 1099, and we just got our benefits for the 231 a week on Saturday. So I don't know if that helps, but we put down Keller Williams as the person who gave us the 1099, and we put him
Well,
as an
we do
independent
give you a
contractor.
1099, and just the way that question is worded, as a client, it sounds like they're asking if she's doing work for someone else. You know, we're not a client. So you're
Yeah,
saying
but-
they asked you that same question, the client, and you said that
We
were your
put down
client?
that the employer was, the person giving us the 1099 was Keller Williams. I used to own up my own company, and we 1099 people. So we were technically the employer or the client giving the work. So we were the one distributing the 1099. And so that's what we did with Keller Williams. I mean, we just got approved, and we're getting the money now. So I don't know if that helps, but that's what we put down.
That's very helpful. See, that's where I'm really stuck on what to do with this form.
I think most of us in the beginning put down that we were not self-employed and that we worked for Keller Williams. I know I did that, and then Patrick was coming out, and things were unfolding, we were finding out we shouldn't be doing that. We should be saying we're self-employed, but many of us already put down Keller Williams. So I haven't received any money yet, although I did just get something today, and I know a few other realtors that got what I got today, and it looks like that I'm kind of maybe almost over the hurdle to start to get something, but I think a lot of us did that. We put Keller Williams down.
I just want to make a quick comment. So we still have about 12 people waiting to ask questions. And I'm getting a lot of messages. If you guys did not have your hand raised, please understand I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going by the best order that I can based on who's been waiting patiently in chat. I believe that the next person was Karen Kleiman. Karen?
Hi, Mark. How are you? I'm here. Sorry, I just had to mute myself. So yesterday I was able to certify for all the weeks, and today I got a notice on my PPP that I was finally lender assigned. So what do I do?
You were lender assigned?
Which means that I'm on the step where they're going, the lender, what's the exact word? I have to go back to my thing to tell you exactly the word. Here it is. Hang on.
One other thing while you're looking for that, just so, because
I got it already. It's lender.
Wait, hang on one second, just for other people.
I got it.
Already.
It says lender submitted.
Wait, can I just finish, Karen? Give me 1 second. It'll help this go more smoothly. Like, as you're looking for stuff and other people are looking stuff up, if you have information that you want to reference, don't wait until you get called on to pull it up. Try to pull that up ahead of time. I don't know how much time we have with Marc, but we asked him to come on for a few minutes, and he's coming up on an hour, and I just want to be, so, two things. Just if you have documentation, try to have it ready before you ask a question, and let's try to keep it to questions as much as you can and not, commentary. Just like ask your question, or else some people at the end of the line are not going to get to ask their questions. I'm sorry, go ahead, Karen.
Okay, so it says lender submitted, which means that I'm finally almost there for the PPP, and I finally was able to certify yesterday morning for back to March 29th. So what do I do? I mean, they haven't deposited the money in my account. They said I'll have it by Friday because it's direct deposit. I kind of want to see if I get the PPP, but then what do I do?
Well, I'm not sure I'm quite following. So
okay. I applied for the PUA and the unemployment back on March 29th.
Mhm.
April 10th, I put in for the PPP. And I've been waiting patiently, and today I finally got the email that I was lender submitted. So, and I also got yesterday the certification that I can certify for the PUA, unemployment. So I'm like, uh-oh, I don't think I can have both at the same time, obviously.
Well, so it sounds like you're well ahead of the game here compared to many. So yeah, I mean, if you get to a point where you're going to be receiving the PPP benefits, well, then you no longer need the unemployment benefits. I mean, is that?
So I can cancel it then once I get the PPP.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's no reason to do it beforehand because otherwise you won't have any income.
Right, exactly. But I just want to make sure, like I have a closing this Friday, so I'm going to certify, I get the money next week then, but I earned the money back in February when I got it under contract.
Well,
So
right, so the issue is not necessarily when was the money earned. The issue from the unemployment perspective is when was it paid? So when you receive pay, let's say you receive pay next week, maybe for that week.
For next week, yes, I got it.
Maybe for that week is not a week that you apply for unemployment benefits.
Yeah, I understand that. That's why I was wondering about the PPP.
Right.
That comes through. That was
But
my
then the
main
following week, if the PPP benefits have not yet come through, then apply. Again, the worst case scenario is the unemployment office says no.
Okay, do I have to return the benefits I got so far or no? Because I had to wait so long?
Will they ask you to return benefits?
No, will I have to return? Because somebody posted on the chat that I'll have to return the unemployment benefits if I get the PPP.
Well, that might depend upon if the PPP is backdated, right? Because if it is, then maybe, but I haven't seen that. I haven't heard that yet. But if not, and if it's from that point forward, then it sounds like you're just going to be made whole.
Okay, thank you so
or at least
much.
as close to whole as possible.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Sure,
I appreciate
it.
Thank you. Next was Aman.
Hello. I'm unmuted. Hi, Marc. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. So I filed for, I filed the claim, and I got this just a few days ago. I got this letter. It says unemployment insurance instructions and appointment notice. So, at the bottom of the letter, it says reason for appointment, but it does not have any date. It says date, time, report, day, nothing. And it just tells me to call this number 201-601-4100. I've been trying to call each time I call. And meanwhile, I am certifying for weekly benefits whenever, for the scheduled time that I have under my social security number. It just says, I have to call back to speak to an agent. It has been now, I had filed the claim on the 29th of March. It's been almost going to be, it's over a month and a half now. I have not received anything. Then when I was certifying for my weekly benefits, I did till, the claim that was till May 5th. And at the end of, the claiming for the weekly benefits, they asked me to print out something, and it had my, the confirmation number. And in the end, it says your claim is not payable at this time. One of the agents spoke about it that I also ended up putting Keller Williams, as my employer, whereas I think I had spoken to Patrick the other day, and he said you should have put, your own name and the social security number. So the other thing is that the other place that I work, I had filed unemployment under them. And when it had asked me to notify if I'd worked anywhere, and I had put Keller Williams also, in it. So I really don't know what am I supposed to do now.
So it sounds like you've already started the process, and you're just now having a hard time getting unemployment back engaged with respect to your situation. I mean, all I can say is really just continue to try to get them back on the phone or in any other sort of communication that you have available with them. There's really nothing else to do. I mean, whenever it ultimately is processed and you start to receive benefits, you ultimately, as many others, should be receiving those benefits backdated. I think you said March 29th?
March 29th, yeah.
You're right. You should be receiving those benefits back from whenever that date was. But again, it's a time issue. It's an overwhelming issue. And it's just a matter of as soon as your claim gets to be the next one, you should be able to receive all those back benefits to which you're entitled.
Okay, and about this letter that says the appointment notice, but it doesn't, say anything about the time, day that I need to, it says be present for your interview. Nothing is given here. So what should I do? I just keep calling?
I would just keep calling. I mean, normally when someone receives those notices, usually, yes, there's a time and a phone number and a very careful description of what you need to do. It sounds like maybe it was just an omission, but you should absolutely continue to call.
Hello.
Thank you.
I have an answer for you, Iman.
Yes.
It's Kim.
Hey, hi, Kim.
Hi. If you go on the unemployment page and you find the page that says My Dashboard,
okay,
that's where it'll say like, what the amount they owe you. It says either pending or filed, 000. If you go all the way to the bottom of that page, it'll say monetary meeting, and it'll give you a date and a time when that meeting is to take place and that they will call you. Those blue letters had this, the times of the meetings were omitted from there for some reason. I have been on the phone with unemployment forever. So if you go on the page, find My Dashboard, and you'll find the time of your meeting.
Okay, so that'll be on the unemployment page. My dashboard would be on the unemployment.
It'll be where you find your status, where it says either pending, filed. It'll say how many weeks you've claimed so far, how much amount you're getting each week, etc.
Okay,
thank you.
Alrighty, good luck. But that's where all that info is.
It's good information, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you. Wait, Alyse, before you go to the next call, one thing I wanted to ask you real quick, Marc. We really appreciate you being on here and taking, so much of your valuable time. If we want to try to, sort of repay you for this generous use of your time, what type of leads would you want from us? Like, what type of cases do you take on, and how could we refer business to you?
Thanks, Al. Thought you'd never ask. Appreciate that. So, obviously I'm here today as a courtesy. Most of my work does not involve unemployment. Most of my work involves the employment world. So great leads, of course, are people that are struggling with employment issues such as discrimination, sexual harassment, things of that nature that come to mind, whether it be race, age, gender, anything in that world. And of course, on the business side, for some of your business clients, we deal not only with respect to defending these types of claims, again, in the employment sector, but also dealing with restrictive covenants, non-compete agreements, non-solicitation, and just business litigation overall. Partnership disputes, business issues, commercial litigation, which means where one business sues another business for whatever the case might be. So that's kind of where my world is. And that's why I run, the name in and of itself is called the Employment Law and Business Litigation Group at the Brandon J. Broderick Law Firm. I head that group, and I welcome any sort of leads or referrals that you could send out. I really appreciate that. Let me just follow it up real quickly just by saying this very briefly. I know this call is limited. I know there's many people on this call. If subsequent to this call, really, anybody has any questions, look, we all work remotely. We're all doing the best that we can. I'm happy to continue answering any questions people have. Let me give you my direct phone number at work, as well as an email address. Al, if that's okay.
Yeah, Alyse, can you put that in the chat?
Yeah, so that way I could subsequently respond to any sort of issues that if you don't have the time to provide those questions today or ask those questions today. Very quickly, my direct line at work is 201-397-1424. My email address is mgarbar, is how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Garbar. mgarbar@201employmentlaw.com. And I really appreciate that. Al, thanks for that very much.
So we actually have a fair amount of that kind of work, not sexual or racial discrimination suits, like you said, but more so, if we're looking to hire somebody and we need somebody to review their contract to see if their non-compete or non-solicit, applies, or those are the types of things you review for us and give us an opinion on?
I do that every day, Al, so the answer is yes. And the only other thing I would throw onto that, of course, is when people are dealing with issues such as termination and other things that come up, one of the tools that is utilized is something called the severance agreement. And most of my career is spent negotiating severance agreements on behalf of either the employee or, of course, the business with respect to the cessation, the end of those employment situations. So thank you again.
No, thank you. Appreciate your time.
Sure.
I don't know, can you keep going for more questions, or are you out of time, or?
Until my kids come upstairs screaming and yelling that it's dinner time, I mean, I'm happy to continue, so not a problem.
Okay, thank you.
Next was Ani. Oh, let me unmute you. There you go.
Hi, thank you. I have a question. I received the letter from unemployment that I could start claiming my benefits on April 29th. And I've started doing that, but I keep getting a message that says your certification cannot be processed. And that's been going on now a couple of weeks. Do I just keep trying every week? Is that like a normal error message?
Yes, keep on trying every week. It happened with me for like 3 weeks before I finally got it to work. It's Karen.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar. It sounds like something might be missing in the application, but if you've gone through it, you know, up, down, and all around, and there's nothing that's amiss with respect to your application, then like the other caller just mentioned, just keep trying, because at some point,
Keep doing it every week?
you know, every week.
Okay.
And and bear in mind, again, ultimately, when it gets through, the expectation is that it will be backdated to the time that when you first applied.
Okay, because I got a Bank of America debit card. I got like all this stuff, but I'm not able to do anything with it.
Can I quick insert an associated question? Ani, on the amount you are qualified for, is it still coming up as 0?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, ditto. Mark, does that just mean they haven't gotten around to us yet?
Most likely.
Okay.
None of us like to see 0 during the application process, but again, just keep trying. I mean, unemployment show would say the same thing. It's a numbers game. Just keep trying. Hopefully you'll get through. And if and when you do, let's see those zeros change much bigger numbers and much larger numbers once they get backdated to the time when you first applied.
Okay, thank you.
Good luck. Sure. My pleasure.
Everyone starts out as 0 initially, and then once they actually approve it, the number will change to the 231.
Thank you. Next we have Karen Boyle.
Karen Boyle, our own in-house unemployment attorney.
Yeah, right.
Karen, can you turn your video on?
Yeah, hold on. Yep. Yeah. Can you see me?
Nice
Okay.
background.
Thank you. That's me and my fabulous partner. Okay, so Ani, the same thing has been happening to me over and over and over again for 2 weeks now.
Yeah.
My question to you, Mark, today I received that second letter, the second email, I should say, not letter by mail, but email, the same thing that Jeannie and a couple other people received, that I now qualify for the PUA benefits and how that process will work and how to go about filing. My question to you is this. I still haven't been able to claim the regular, the other thing that Ani's trying to do, the regular benefits for the $231 a week or whatever. I keep getting the same response. So question 1 is, do I proceed with trying to file for this PUA following the email that I got today, or do I have to wait to file that until I can get certified for the other benefits?
Well, have you already applied for the initial unemployment benefits?
Yes, that I did a long time ago. I started this whole process on April 3rd, I think it was, and I've gotten letters in the mail, I've gotten email after email, and I keep trying to go in to certify on the times that I'm supposed to. It never works. I try Saturdays, Fridays, Saturdays, still doesn't work. I haven't had any success with that. So my claim has obviously been received, but then I received the email today about, yeah, you qualified for the PUA, and then the process to go about qualifying for that, but I still haven't been certified for the other benefits yet. So,
well, look, I mean, it sounds like this new opportunity arose. It sounds like something I would certainly jump on immediately.
Okay.
With respect to going through the application process for it. And again, if with respect to the other benefits you're still waiting for, I mean, it sounds like you're kind of, juggling a few balls at the same time here, but I see no reason why you shouldn't be going down the path for both, and let the unemployment office be the one that tells you no. But until that happens, by all means, apply away.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
The PUA the email you got today, because I know I've been privately texting with you, the PUA thing you got today, the email, is for the unemployment benefits that you already applied for. So it's the same exact thing. It's what you already filled out the form for. It's not a separate entity. And just now it's called PUA because you're not a normal unemployment person. So they're calling it PUA because you're an independent contractor or a
Okay,
self-employed
but it specifies in the email that it's for the extra $600 per week.
Yep, and that just means that your unemployment form finally got processed by somebody who went, oh, she's self-employed and she can now get the money. So when your social security number comes up, just check when your social security number can enter your information. Go on then and certify for that week, and all the prior weeks, just keep clicking on certify for the other weeks, and you will all of a sudden have all those, you'll get all the emails saying you are now certified for $231 for March 29th through April 4th. You're certified for March 4th through April 11th, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay.
So that letter is just saying that your unemployment insurance is just qualified under PUA. Like you've now finally qualified because they finally got to your thing, got to your application, and this is why you now qualify. Before you didn't, now you do. So
okay,
you're good.
Okay, thank you. And one more question. Thank you, Kristen. I appreciate that. One more question, and sorry, I'm just having a brain fart on this. When I initially filed was April 3rd, so I haven't had anything since then. And go figure, I'm supposed to file now, according to this email, starting tomorrow, May 13th. I have 2 closings. So this is just so typical. So do I even claim for this week because I have 2 closings, or now do I wait until next week? What do I do?
Well, I guess the question is, will you be paid at the closing, or is that now being paused or being put off because of everything going on in that COVID world?
Right. Well, we don't get paid. We as agents technically don't get paid at closing. We get paid after the checks are processed and everything. So I probably wouldn't get my checks until next Monday.
Until you get paid, claim benefits. The weeks that you have some income, I would suggest not claiming for those weeks because number one, you don't want to hear it. I mean, you might not quote unquote need it for that week.
Right.
We of course want as much benefit as possible, but it would look a lot cleaner if then the following week you were able to then certify, I have no income for this week. All of a sudden, a big balloon income might, again, change a few of the equations. So my suggestion is for any weeks that you have some of these larger amounts of money coming in as an independent contractor, those are weeks I would not claim benefit.
Okay. Got it.
Karen,
Thank
did
you.
the other 2 ladies behind you have any questions as well, or are you done?
No, I think they're good.
Okay.
Al, let me just say one quick thing. Again, I don't deal with any unemployment world often, although, obviously I know enough to be able to answer some of the questions on the calls today, but it's really those that have gone through the experience like Kristen and others that are really helpful to be able to recommend and advise your colleagues because you're all living through this together. So really the success here in this Ask Al Anything, and Al, by the way, which is a great format, and I'm sure the agents really appreciate it. It's wonderful that you host this, but it's really the experiences of others that is really able to provide assistance and education to those that are having the most challenges with it, because you're all the ones that are living through it. And hopefully-
But I think it's really helpful to have somebody who's knowledgeable kind of mediate and bounce off, because we did this a week ago, and what happens when 2 different knowledgeable people have 2 different opinions. So it's great to have somebody who's in this world to kind of give us some idea of which idea is right.
And it's possible if we did this in a week from now that a large portion of the folks that didn't yet receive the benefits today, in a week from now, that could all change. I mean, you see that this is changing on a daily basis. So hopefully, again, the next time that we all connect, there'll be many more great stories to share at that time.
Definitely. I think Kristen and Karen will be hosting this next week.
Thank you. Marc, I can ask you just a half question based on what Karen just said. So when you have a closing, don't certify that week, but the following week, go right back to certifying the way you did. Don't mention that money at all.
Well, it's not necessarily the closing. Again, it's the date that you receive the
That's what I mean. The date you receive. I'm a lawyer's daughter, so the date you receive that check. I was a paralegal for 2 years.
All right.
So the date you receive that check, so if I get a check on May 21st, I get that check May 21st. I don't certify that week, but the next week, May 28th, I can go back on there and start certifying for benefits again. I don't mention that check.
You know, I'm not sure. I'm not in the unemployment world again enough to know that. My suggestion is for the weeks that you're receiving the income are the weeks that you should not be applying for the benefit. I mean, again, it's significant enough that it would surpass anything you would receive with the 231 plus the 600. So anything beyond that, I see no reason to apply for the unemployment for that week. But for the following week or the preceding week or any other weeks in which there is no income, those are weeks that you should apply. And if there are questions that are being asked in that application about any other income you received in any other weeks, I mean, answer them truthfully. And hopefully they will impact your ability to get benefits during weeks during which you did not receive the benefit.
And I know this is semantics, but you don't mean reapply for unemployment. You mean certify for claims that week, correct?
I do, correct. That's correct.
Just clarify.
Thanks,
Sorry,
thanks,
just making sure.
Thanks for the clarification. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Are we okay to keep going?
Yep.
Next was Bonnie. Let me find you. Oh, okay, you're good.
Hi, guys. Hi, Mark. Thanks so much for taking the time. I'll be quick. So I'm an independent contractor. I'm an agent, but I'm also, my job is a full-time assistant. And last year I set up an LLC. So the agent that I work for pays me, and I get a 1099 at the end of the year. So I applied for the regular unemployment as an independent contractor. I got a couple things in the mail. I also got the debit card, but every time I log into my dashboard, it just keeps saying that I'm pending. Do you know if, as an LLC, I mean, I do obviously I put in my social security number. I didn't put in my business ID number. Do you know if I am even eligible for unemployment benefits as an LLC, but an independent contractor?
Well, that's the thing, right? So it sounds to me that the independent contractor, you as a person, independent contractor, would be the one that would be receiving, or through the application process, the PUA, right? The Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. With respect to the PPP, that might be where, as an LLC, you could try to obtain benefits through that process, because that's more being paid to the businesses that have employees, right? As an LLC, I'm assuming a single member LLC, right? Is that?
Yeah. I mean, my paychecks get paid to the LLC, but the LLC doesn't have any employees. But I do get the business gets a 1099 at the end of the year,
right?
Issued from the agent that I work for.
So yeah, I mean, it sounds to me I would still go through the unemployment aspect as the individual, because you first need to be denied unemployment to be able to receive the pandemic unemployment assistance.
Right.
I don't believe that you could apply as an LLC to receive unemployment. That would really be more you. That would be trying to get those benefits. Once that's denied, then you go down the PUA avenue. But then now all of a sudden, if you switch from social security number to a federal employer ID number, I can imagine what the unemployment office is going to do with that. Significant confusion. So I would suggest down that path of continuing with the SS number.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I applied. I applied to the regular unemployment as a self-employed, individual with my name and my social security number.
Yeah, and I would continue on that process.
Okay. All right, fair enough. Thank you very much.
Sure. Hope that's helpful.
Thank you. Candace is next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, Mark. Thank you again for your time this afternoon. And I think I have a quick and easy question for you.
I like those.
A general question. If you don't certify for benefits one week, do you forfeit that, or can you go backwards like in a later week?
So good question. In the regular unemployment world, right, pre-COVID unemployment world, the answer was yes. You would need to certify every single week that I have, I'm out there, I'm trying to mitigate my damage by trying to find work, and here's my certification in terms of my efforts to obtain unemployment. In the COVID era, the rules have just gone out the window, and we're dealing now in the wild, wild west in the state of New Jersey here. So yes, you would need to certify for every week, but if there's something happens, let's say, for example, during a certain week, you accidentally didn't certify, or during all these weeks, you didn't properly answer the question whether you're still in the process of seeking other employment elsewhere, you're still going to get those benefits for the most part through unemployment. I'm going to say that they get it, and I'm putting that in quotes if you see my fingers here. At least that's what I'm being told by the unemployment office.
Okay.
If there's a question of asking you, are you doing anything to mitigate your damage? Meaning, are you out there trying to find employment? Even if you're not, you say that you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's not me saying it, because I would never tell anybody not to be truthful on an application. That's what the unemployment office is suggesting that you do. Say it anyway, because you don't want to get knocked out on a technicality because you said no to a question that's going to cause them to deny the benefits. If there's an option to say yes, say yes. Let them again be the one to say that you did not properly go through the process, you didn't properly do anything, whatever the case might be. Say it to the extent that you're able to say it, because you want to be able to at least get on the radar screen of getting those benefits. When getting them, certify every single week and try to do it to the best extent that you could, and just follow that process, and hopefully it will lead to where you need to be.
Thank you. Thanks again for your time today.
Sure, my pleasure.
Okay, next was Carolyn. Jeannie, I see you. We have one more and then you can go. Carolyn, you there? There you go.
Yes, I am muted. Thank you. I appreciate your patience. You've been great. Obviously,
Carolyn, could you just speak up a little bit, please?
I said thank you for your patience. You have been great. I also, as with many other people, have had some closings, so I had a little unclarity on what to do. You really kind of answered some of those questions. The shame is our business is from the past. We're being sort of, I guess, some of us feel penalized for having business from the past. It's the future that we're concerned about. But I was told pandemic unemployment, PUA is pandemic unemployment assistance, that will continue even if we're not getting a paid unemployment for that week. Is that the case?
So when you say unemployment, I mean, you're talking about the 231, you're talking about the 600?
Oh, I just got an email that I'm now eligible for PUA, which is Pandemic Unemployment Assistance. That's the $600. So do we get that even if we're not eligible for the week because we did get a paycheck, or we did get a commission check, I should say?
You know, I'm not 100% sure. So what I'm suggesting here to the folks on this call is, for weeks that you need to certify, weeks that would not be certified if you received income. If the government's just paying that $600 number, regardless, like once it starts, it's now going to continue until X period of time without the need to certify or recertify, great. There's nothing that further you need to do. And it sounds like what you're explaining, if that's the scenario, that you're going to be receiving that until that PUA process ends. I think right now they have a proposed end date, I believe sometime in July. Who knows if that's to be extended or not. But until that happens, and if there's no quote unquote paperwork that needs to be certified or filled out to get to that point, then hopefully you'll still be receiving it, and it's no harm to you at all, right? I mean,
that would make me happy if we at least receive that, because I hear people getting unemployment.
But again, going back to the questions that were asked earlier on, if to receive the PUA, it involves that weekly certification, and if any one of those weeks you received income, my suggestion then is to, again, wait until the following week to then start the recertification process.
Okay, mine says the 15th. I'm going to go online and do it now. I have one other question about something different, the stimulus check. I never received the stimulus check. My sister told me if I did not go online and apply for it by a certain date, I have lost that. Is that the case?
So that's not what I'm hearing. I've experienced that with a number of clients, family members as well, that you don't really need to do anything. It's going to come. Now, I can't make that promise. I have no idea whether it's actually going to show up, but I'm told there's nothing physically that anybody on this call or anywhere else needs to do to be able to obtain that stimulus check. There's no application for it. It just comes.
All right,
And
thank you.
hopefully you will be one of the ones to whom it is sent, hopefully very soon.
Okay, and I'll spend it on small businesses when I get it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure, my pleasure.
Frank, I think you said you had a question. Do you still want to ask? I can't unmute you, so you're going to have to unmute. There you
Hi,
go.
Mark. I appreciate your time.
Sure, my pleasure.
I filed, I got a letter back saying 0. Then every week I'd go on to certify. And what would happen ultimately in the end, it would tell me to call this number, I believe in East Hanover. I call that number, a 201-601-4100 number, which is supposed to be for serving the Northeast. I get on and it puts you through a loop, and in the end it asks you, call the next day. You call the next day, same scenario. Each week upon the Social Security number that you go on where you used to certify, ultimately I get the same thing. Call that number. So I'm in an endless loop. So I don't know if they're seeing my certification, if it's truly certified. It does ask my Social Security number. It does ask my PIN. It asks me to confirm that. And in the end, it wants me to call this number.
Can I chime in for 1 second here? I'm sorry, Frank, sorry, Mark, but Frank, the same thing was happening to me because I was getting so frustrated online. So I tried calling the number like the letter told me to. And when I called the number, I think I got through once. I didn't get through to a human, I'm sorry. I got through to an automated system and they told me that you cannot file or you cannot file for your claims or you can't claim whatever by phone. You have to actually do it online.
Yeah, but ultimately when you do it online, end result is they want you to call a number.
Exactly.
So it's an endless loop.
The same thing happened to me, Frank, and I think the same thing happened to a lot of us. I think sit tight. It looks like in the last few days or the last 5 days, I applied April 5th, and today I finally got that PUA email. So, and I was doing the same exact thing you were doing. So okay. I think it's around the corner is what I'm thinking.
All right. Now, so I filed around the same time as you did, days later, I believe a week later. So we'll see what happens. And of course, like everyone is saying, I happen to have 2 closings this week. It's supposed to happen tomorrow. I appreciate Mark telling us that if you're getting any kind of money, just don't avoid that week, as far as filing, when it asks for that week. So I'll look to see what happens, Janine. I appreciate Mark. Thank you for your time. I guess eventually everything will catch up.
Appreciate that.
Alyse, can I ask my question?
Yeah, go ahead, Jeannie.
Okay. Thank you again, Mark. Like everyone's saying, really appreciate your time. I'm just curious from your perspective. I mean, I was under the understanding that we're going to get regular unemployment benefits plus this COVID 600 a week. And what I'm seeing from a few other realtor friends of mine that are starting to get it, it looks like it's only $230 a week, besides the 600, I guess, which I don't know if anybody's really gotten that 600 yet. I'm just wondering, I thought it was going to be based on what you made in 2019, on what you were going to get weekly. I'm wondering, is it just the 230 or is it going to be based on something else?
So what I've been hearing from many callers during this call is it sounds like most are receiving that 231, 600. And that sounds to me, it sounds like, right, I mean, please, I mean, I welcome anyone else to chime in on that, but it sounds like that's been the experience of many of the folks on this call. And it might be exclusive to the independent contractor as opposed to the regular W-2 employee that's out there. That there are certainly different equations for that individual as opposed to the independent contractor. And it might be mostly because of the fact that folks, for good, bad, or otherwise, have never contributed to that fund. The W-2 employees have been contributing to that forever. So maybe there's potentially, because of that reason, more benefit for those people because of those contributions, as opposed to what the government has really just created out of thin air, which is to provide benefits to folks, independent contractors, who have never in the past received any sort of unemployment benefits prior to March.
Okay, I mean, that might be the case. I was wondering, I mean, I was under the assumption that it would be based off of maybe what you made the year before, but I was curious what you thought and knew about that.
I mean, I would hope it would be, but from what any of the
No,
other,
it makes sense what you're
sounds
saying
like
because
that's
we've
the
never
number.
contributed to it. Has anybody else on this call received anything more than 230? I'm just curious.
We got 231, the same exact amount as everybody else.
Okay.
That's what I'm hearing. So
The
sounds like
last
that's
question, I believe, is from Mary. Mary, are you still here? If you could turn your video on.
Yes, I'm here. I received something interesting. Again, thank you for answering all our questions. I'm trying to be quick. So I received a request for wage separation information form, and it's it appears that it's sending it to me as if I'm employing myself, which I did put down as I was the employer, and asking me about the employee. So it was to me about me, and there were questions about did I pay any contributions on behalf of the wages. It looks like it feels I'm a W-2 employer, like I was employing someone under a W-2, because on the back it asked me to certify every week from January 19th until March 28th. So I was going to put down that I am a 1099 employee claiming benefits due to the COVID-19 impact under the CARES Act, and just answer the questions that, there was nothing contributed to, nothing contributed to like the taxes you would pay on an employee if you were paying them a W-2 and things like that. Have you ever seen that yet, this form, a request for wage separation information?
I have seen it, but it's in a different scenario. It's more like the one you described, where that would go to the employer talking about, like you said, the W-2 employee. So I'm not quite sure why you received that. But
right.
Let me just follow up on that real quickly, because this is something that I was hoping somebody would ask, and it sounds like you have now with maybe the last question. Let me just segue into something else just to very, very briefly touch upon. Some of you folks may employ your own independent contractors, or at least people to which you pay 1099s or submit 1099s, or folks to which you have that are W-2 employees. So my only recommendations with respect to that is, unless the person has their own separate identity, has their own separate business, their own separate email, phone lines and everything else, that they need to be considered your W-2 employee. And if you have folks that you work with, for example, somebody gave me this terminology earlier on, a transportation coordinator, right? Am I saying that correctly? Is that something that somebody has?
You cut out a little bit there. What was the term?
I'm sorry, transaction coordinator?
Transaction coordinator.
Right. So if you utilize folks like transaction coordinators or virtual assistants or folks like that under your umbrella, under your own umbrella as an agent, those folks are your W-2 employees, unless those folks do it to the extent that they handle those responsibilities for others. So if there's a transaction coordinator that also is a coordinator for someone, 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever the number is, other agents throughout the county, then that person has their own identity, their own business model. Then they can be considered a 1099. But if that person works exclusively for you, and you are the quote unquote their employer, and they don't work for anyone else, then please consider treating those people as W-2 employees, not 1099, because then you can get involved in misclassification, and that opens up a whole nother set of worms with respect to various governmental issues. Just a suggestion to consider in the future.
Okay, so for this, should I just put that, it's just me, so should I just put
Yeah,
down?
so sorry, I don't know if I went up on a segue there. Just for you, it sounds like, number one, it sounds like you got the wrong form because you don't have a W-2 employee unless you are taking
No.
from yourself. And if that's the case, it sounds that, yes, what you received was more for a W-2 employee type situation. And I would speak with the unemployment office and make sure that you receive the proper forms. Because that sounds like.
Yeah. Okay, I don't have a number to call them that I would probably get through on, but anyway, I'll probably just send this back, with a note on it that, perhaps it sent an error. There's an email address here, which is good, so maybe I'll email them.
Oh, you're way ahead of the game if you have an email address to submit something to.
Wait, I'll sell it at $5 a shot. I'm kidding.
Absolutely. Do you have anyone else?
Valuable information.
So,
Sure.
I'm sorry, you guys. So I know Dawn had a question. Do you still have a question?
I think I still have a question. I'll try to just be quick, just gathering from what everybody's saying. So as independent contractors, are we hoping to get $231 a week, and then on top of that, the PUA, the $600? Is that kind of the goal?
That's what I'm hearing from most, right? I mean, please chime in, anybody, on that.
Yes. Because I've been trying to certify every week. My original claim was on April 5th, and then I got a notice that said I could certify starting April 22nd. And like Frank, I keep going on. I keep getting that error message. Today I called, I got the loop, and I just feel like the process has been so confusing. So, the call helped in trying to put together these pieces. So just make sure I'm following along.
It sounds like.
Sorry.
It sounds like the home run for most folks right now is 31 combined amount of 231 plus the 600.
So did you get an email from them saying that you are qualified for the PUA?
Yeah, I got that today.
You got that today. So the next time you certify under your social security number, whenever your time is this week, and if you don't have a time this week, if you missed it, go in on Friday or Saturday whenever your time is allowed, whenever your social security number is allowed, and you will get the message that you got the 231. Just keep certifying for every back week. Make sure you keep clicking on that.
So every week I do go in and I try to certify, but then I get the error message that Frank was talking about.
But you just got the email today, right? You got the email today saying that you were certified for PUA, right?
Yes.
So we were doing the same thing. Once you get that email, now the next time that you go in and certify, you should get the $231.
So I shouldn't get the error message saying it can't be processed.
No, from now on, you should get the 231, and just make sure at the bottom you click on claim additional weeks and keep doing that until it says you have no additional weeks to claim, so you get all those back weeks.
All the 231 back week plus the 600 going forward.
Yep, and you will get the 600's automatic as long as you claim for the week.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
It just will take a couple of weeks. So we claimed on Saturday for last week, and we'll get the 600 backdated for 5 weeks starting on May 19th. So it's like there's like a lag of a week and a half or something.
Okay.
But next time you go in, you should be okay. You should be set.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, I think we covered it.
Are there any other questions? Sounds like we're about to wrap up. Is there anybody who had a question that didn't get a chance to ask?
I appreciate you all waiting patiently, by the way.
Thank you, Al, for setting this up. I know it's been
No problem. Hopefully it was helpful. Is there
Thank you.
Oh, wait, I think, I'm sorry.
Thank you so much.
Donna's joining, and I know that she had a question. Donna, go. Donna? Oh, she's connecting. All right, you're up.
Anybody besides Donna? While we wait for Donna, any last questions? We're gonna wrap it up.
She's there. Go ahead, Donna.
So, I guess I thank you again, Marc, for all this, and thank you for all your time. But I think it was answered. If work was prior to the COVID, it was in February, March, and we're just closing, do you have to claim that? And you're just thinking just don't claim that week, even though it was prior work.
So I just want to make sure I'm understanding the question. You occurred back in February, but you're receiving the benefit of it now?
So I'm trying to get back on and I can't. I'm sorry. Can you see me?
We can see and hear you.
Okay. Anyway, so if closing, I put together a transaction in February and it's just closing now and you're receiving the check. Just don't claim that week, or does that have to be claimed since it's prior work?
No, so the recommendation here is any weeks in which you receive income,
Yes,
you
that's
should
what I
be
figured.
applying for the benefits.
Just don't, so even that, even if it was work prior in January, February, still.
Right, the unemployment office is looking at it from a standpoint of not when the work accrued, but rather when the benefit, the monetary benefit was received.
Okay. Okay. That's what I figured. I just wanted to double check. Sorry for the last minute.
All right, I think.
All right, Mark, I just have like 10 more questions. Can you stay on for another hour?
Al, for you, anything, whatever you need.
All right, awesome.
You were great. Awesome work. Thank you so much.
And Mark was pretty good too, Donna, right?
This was a
Thank
pleasure.
you, Mark. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
At the
Thanks,
end of the
Mark.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mark.
Al.
Thank you so much,
Thanks,
Mark.
Al.
Thanks, Al.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Mark.
So the best way to thank Mark is if you can think of anybody who needs any help with employment law, his contact info is in there. We definitely will have some business that we can refer to you from the actual office.
Absolutely.
If agents can refer, that'd be great too.
Thanks, Mark.
Absolutely.
All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
thanks again.
Bye.
You stayed on longer than any other guest we've ever had, so we really appreciate it.
Wow.
Thank you. Great
Awesome.
info.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day, everybody.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
Thanks,
everybody.
Al.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, all.